The cosmos, once a canvas for human ambition and unity, now lay draped in the melancholic shroud of desolation. In the year 2245, the interstellar frontier had decayed into a grim tapestry of shattered hopes and remnants of a glorious, bygone era. Nebulae burned with the cold, indifferent fire of distant stars, while derelict warships and abandoned colonies drifted like ghosts in a sea of infinite night. Every orbiting husk told a story, a memory of a time when valor and unity battled the encroaching void. Among these spectral relics sailed the aging starship Aurora's Mercy, a vessel as scarred as the soul of the universe itself. At its helm was Captain Nova Meridian, a woman whose eyes held the steely glimmer of someone who had witnessed too much to ever be fully innocent again. Once a fleet commander revered for her strategic brilliance, Nova now navigated the treacherous fringes of space as a renegade, her resolve hardened by the countless losses inflicted by the last war. Her presence was both an echo of what once was and a silent promise of something different, something built not on revenge alone, but on the fragile hope of renewal. Nova's quarters were dimly lit by the soft glow of instrument panels and the distant flicker of starlight filtering through a porthole. The air was thick with memories, fragments of laughter shared with comrades long fallen, the desperate murmurs of final goodbyes, and the echo of orders that could not be undone. She ran her calloused fingers along the worn edges of a digital photo frame that played endless loops of faces and moments, a constant reminder of the cost of conflict. Each memory was a whisper from the past, urging her forward, beckoning her to reclaim something lost in the chaos. As the Aurora's Mercy glided silently past the shattered remnants of orbital battlefields, rumors swirled like cosmic dust. Among the scattered whispers of space travelers and exiled soldiers, one name rose above the rest. The only ship that had ever survived the last war, an ancient warship said to carry a vengeful spirit from a conflict too brutal to forget. This solitary vessel, now stirring in the cold vacuum, was rumored to be awakening, a phantom relic destined to challenge the fragile peace of the remaining colonies. The idea both intrigued and unsettled Nova, for it evoked memories of a war that had forever altered the fabric of her existence. In the quiet solitude of the starship's command deck, Nova gazed out at the endless void. The darkness was not empty. It was filled with silent witnesses to a bygone era, their spectral forms suspended in a timeless vigil. It was in these moments of profound isolation that the weight of the past pressed most heavily upon her, merging with the starlight to form a luminous barrier between what had been and what might yet be. The hum of the ship's engines, steady and unyielding, was a constant reminder that despite the scars of history, the journey forward was inevitable. Nova's mind wandered back to the battles fought, to the voices of those who had given everything in the name of survival and freedom. The memories were bittersweet, a tapestry woven with threads of valor, loss, and an unyielding determination to resist the darkness. In that sprawling cosmos, where the vestiges of old conflicts mingled with the promise of rebirth, Captain Nova Meridian had found her calling. She was not merely a survivor, but a beacon of hope in a universe still reeling from the devastating echoes of war. And as the Aurora's Mercy sailed deeper into the haunting expanse, Nova's resolve only hardened. The ghosts of the past might whisper their regrets, but she was determined to shape a future where the remnants of despair would be transformed into the light of a new beginning. In the vast emptiness of space, every star was a reminder of what was lost, and every shadow, a promise that even in darkness, the spark of rebellion could ignite a revolution of hope. In the cold silence between stars, the Aurora's Mercy sailed onward, its steady hum the heartbeat of a vessel burdened with memories and unspoken promises. Captain Nova Meridian stood at the command deck, her gaze locked on a holographic map that pulsed with the faint signals of distant anomalies. Each flickering light was a whisper from the depths of space, clues that hinted at the reawakening of the ancient warship whose legend had grown in the void. The crew moved with quiet efficiency around her, each member carrying their own tales of loss and defiance. Among them, Lieutenant Eris Calder, a sharp-witted navigator with a penchant for irreverent humor, approached with a cautious urgency. His voice, low and earnest, broke the solemn quiet. Captain, Eris began, tilting his head toward the map. We're picking up a series of encrypted transmissions. They're faint, but there's a pattern, almost as if someone, or something, is trying to speak through the static. Nova's eyes narrowed as she studied the patterns. The digital signals danced on the screen, forming fragments of messages that seemed steeped in desperation and forewarning. Decrypt them, she ordered, her tone measured yet imbued with a quiet intensity. Every word could be a key to understanding what's coming. As the ship's cryptographic engine whirred to life, memories of past battles, when every coded message was a lifeline in the chaos of war, flashed through Nova's mind. She recalled the nights spent in darkened bunkers, deciphering messages that could mean the difference between survival and oblivion. Now, those same skills were being called upon once again, in a universe that had grown all the more enigmatic with each passing year. Minutes stretched into an eternity as the transmission decrypted, revealing a fragmented message laden with foreboding imagery. Echoes, return, warship, vengeance, heed the call. The words resonated in the silence of the command deck, sending a shiver through the crew. Nova's mind raced. Each fragment was a puzzle piece in a much larger picture, hinting at the looming presence of the reawakened warship. "Did you hear that?" murmured Ensign Mira Solis, a young officer whose wide, questioning eyes betrayed both curiosity and fear. "It sounds like a warning or a plea." Nova turned slowly, meeting Myra's gaze with a steely resolve. "It's both," she said softly. "A warning of what's to come, and a plea from voices long silenced by the ravages of war. We must listen." In the dim glow of the command deck, the crew gathered closer as Nova recounted fragments of the ship's dark past, stories passed down through whispers and rumors among the scattered survivors of the last war. Each tale painted a picture of a conflict so vast that its echoes still haunted the void. The legend of the surviving warship had grown with each retelling, morphing into a symbol of both hope and impending doom. The silence was punctuated by Nova's measured words, weaving a tapestry of regret and defiance. "We all know too well the price of neglecting history," she intoned, her voice heavy with the weight of loss. "This isn't merely a ghost of our past. It's a harbinger of the future we're trying to escape, and the future we must shape." Her words ignited a series of hushed conversations among the crew, each voice revealing doubts and dreams alike. Lieutenant Calder, ever the pragmatic skeptic, leaned against a console. "Captain, are we chasing phantoms? Or is this a call to right the wrongs of our past?" His tone carried the subtle challenge of one who had seen too many empty promises in the void. Nova's eyes softened for a moment as she considered his words. "Perhaps it is both," she replied, a glimmer of determination emerging amid the uncertainty. "Every echo holds a lesson, and every shadow conceals the truth of who we once were. We must tread carefully, not only to uncover what lies hidden, but to understand what it means for us moving forward." The crew dispersed, each member returning to their tasks with a renewed sense of purpose mingled with apprehension. In the solitude of her private quarters later that night, Nova sat before a panoramic viewport. The cosmos stretched out endlessly before her, a canvas of flickering stars and boundless mysteries. The decrypted message replayed in her thoughts, a refrain that echoed through the corridors of her memory. In that quiet vigil, the captain allowed herself a moment of vulnerability. The weight of her past, the memories of comrades lost and battles fought, intermingled with the urgent call of the present. It was in this space between despair and hope that Nova found the strength to continue, a strength born from the conviction that every voice, even one lost in the echoes of time, deserved to be heard. As the Aurora's Mercy sailed deeper into the uncharted reaches of space, the encrypted transmissions served as a constant reminder. The past was not dead, and its echoes were gathering strength in the void. And for Captain Nova Meridian and her steadfast crew, the call to unravel the mystery of the reawakened warship was a call to confront not only the remnants of an ancient conflict, but also the very essence of their own souls. The cosmos began to churn with an unease that mirrored the inner tumult of the Aurora's Mercy. Captain Nova Meridian, her resolve hardened by the weight of unspoken secrets and a destiny yet to be written, convened a meeting in the ship's strategy chamber. Here, Beneath the glow of holographic star charts and the pulsating light of distant nebulae, her crew gathered, each soul drawn by the promise of both danger and revelation. Nova's voice, measured and commanding, filled the chamber. We have uncovered a pattern, a beacon calling us toward the heart of conflict. The ancient warship, the one that survived the last war, is stirring. It may be more than a relic. It could be a weapon, a symbol, or even a key to secrets we've long buried. Her words, though cloaked in cautious optimism, resonated with the grim memories of battles past. Lieutenant Eris Calder stepped forward, his eyes alight with a blend of skepticism and determination. Captain, the signals we intercepted aren't just random echoes. They're a rallying cry. They bear the signature of an organized force. And from what we've pieced together, it isn't just the warship awakening. Admiral Corvus Vane is mobilizing his fleet. He's harnessing these echoes to fuel his campaign of vengeance. A murmur rippled through the room. The mere mention of Corvus Vane sent shivers down spines, for his reputation was etched into the dark annals of interstellar conflict. His vision was as cold as the void, a stark contrast to Nova's burning desire for justice and renewal. Yet, both shared a past that had left its scars on the remnants of humanity. The holographic map flickered as Nova traced a route through disputed territories, a corridor known for its spectral remnants of past battles, asteroid fields, and the hidden debris of shattered space stations. "Our course is set," she declared. "We sail into the storm, not as conquerors, but as seekers. We must intercept the warship before it falls into the wrong hands. We must also confront Corvus head-on if we are to alter the tide of this relentless cycle of revenge." As the discussion deepened, a series of strategic questions emerged. Engineer Lyra Solane, a brilliant mind whose quiet ingenuity had saved the ship more times than Nova could count, voiced her concerns. "Captain, the energy readings from that vessel are unlike anything we've seen. It's almost as if the ship is alive, possessing an ancient intelligence that could turn the tide of power. We need to consider that this encounter may not just be a battle of firepower, but of wills, and perhaps of souls." Nova nodded slowly, acknowledging the gravity of Lyra's insight. "Every instrument on board confirms that we are on the precipice of something monumental. The reawakened warship is more than a machine. It is a repository of memories, of pain, and of the ambition that once drove nations to war. And it is now a tool in the hands of those who refuse to let history fade away." Outside the command deck, the ship's corridors buzzed with a mix of anticipation and apprehension. Crew members exchanged speculative whispers about what awaited them, a confrontation with an enemy as formidable as their own inner demons. In small clusters, veterans of long-forgotten skirmishes recounted stories of battles fought on barren moons and in the shadows of colossal debris, their voices echoing with a mix of pride and sorrow. Meanwhile, Nova retreated to a private briefing room, where the gravity of their quest settled upon her like the weight of countless stars. In the solitude of that dim room, she revisited the memories that had haunted her for years, the echoes of lost friends, the ghostly remnants of past orders, and the faces of those who had entrusted their hopes to her leadership. The images, though painful, forged a steely determination within her. With every recollection, she vowed not to let the mistakes of history repeat themselves. Returning to the assembled crew, Nova's eyes burned with a fierce light. "We are on a collision course with destiny," she pronounced. "In the darkness ahead, every decision we make will echo through the void. We are not merely chasing a legend. We are forging the future. Stand ready, for the gathering storm is upon us." The meeting dissolved into a flurry of final preparations. As the Aurora's Mercy adjusted its trajectory, its engines roared to life in a symphony of raw power. The vessel pierced through space with renewed purpose, hurtling toward a destiny shrouded in mystery and peril. In the swirling depths of cosmic uncertainty, the storm was not just a convergence of celestial bodies, but a tempest of ambition, legacy, and the indomitable human spirit. In that charged atmosphere, the ship and its determined captain became a beacon amid the gathering dark. The confrontation with the reawakened warship and with Admiral Corvus Vane himself was inevitable. And as the distance closed, every soul on board braced for the clash that would either cement their place in the annals of history or shatter their hopes beneath the weight of cosmic regret. The journey into the uncharted void was as treacherous as it was transformative. As the Aurora's Mercy veered off its conventional course, the familiar stars gave way to an expanse filled with the remnants of shattered worlds and the silent, lingering scars of battles past. The void here was dense with cosmic debris, asteroid fields tangled like celestial nets, and abandoned outposts that drifted as lonely sentinels of a forsaken era. Nova stood on the observation deck, where the view was both breathtaking and ominous. In the distance, a ghostly nebula spread its luminous tendrils across space, casting eerie shadows over the wreckage of forgotten ships. The atmosphere inside the vessel was charged with anticipation and a quiet dread. Each creak of the hull and hum of the engines served as a reminder that they were venturing into territories where history itself seemed to be holding its breath. Steady as she goes, Nova murmured to herself, her eyes scanning the dark void for any sign of movement. The cryptic transmissions had led them here, a sector known only to a few veteran pilots who whispered of anomalies and vanished convoys. It was a place where the past collided with the present, where every rock and shard could tell a tale of glory and ruin. In the bustling heart of the ship's engine room, engineer Lyra Solane worked feverishly amid a cascade of holographic readouts and cascading data streams. Her hands, precise and steady despite the pressure, danced over control panels as she adjusted the ship's shields to counteract the unpredictable gravitational pulls of nearby debris. "Captain, we're approaching a cluster of energy readings that defy explanation," Lyra called out, her voice a mix of technical fervor and quiet wonder. "It's as if the very fabric of space is alive here." Lieutenant Eris Calder, stationed at the navigation console, interjected with cautious optimism. "Could it be that this energy is linked to the reawakened warship? The readings are off the charts, almost like a heartbeat in the void." His tone was laced with both excitement and the slightest tremor of apprehension. Nova's gaze drifted from the viewport to the console as she absorbed their words. Every member of her crew felt the magnetic pull of destiny, an invisible force drawing them deeper into the abyss where forgotten legends were said to roam. The ship's course was set toward a region dense with cosmic anomalies, a labyrinth of peril that few dared to traverse. As the Aurora's Mercy maneuvered through a particularly hazardous cluster of debris, the ship shuddered violently. Alarm klaxons filled the corridors, and the crew scrambled to their stations. In the chaos, Nova maintained a calm, steady command, her voice cutting through the din. "Hold steady. We're not lost. We're navigating through history itself. Trust your training and your instincts." The tension in her words was tempered by unwavering determination, a beacon of resolve in the heart of uncertainty. Outside the hull, the swirling fragments of ancient vessels caught the faint glow of distant stars, creating a surreal dance of light and shadow. The Aurora's Mercy dodged a massive chunk of derelict metal, its engines flaring with bursts of controlled power. In that split-second crisis, every second felt magnified, a reminder of the fine line between survival and obliteration in the cosmic void. Later, in the quiet aftermath of the turbulence, Nova gathered her closest officers in a secluded briefing chamber. The room was dimly lit, the holographic star map projecting an intricate web of their trajectory against a backdrop of deep space. Nova's face was set in a firm, reflective expression as she addressed her team. "We are venturing into the heart of uncertainty," she began softly. "This sector is a repository of our collective history, a mosaic of triumphs and tragedies, of sacrifices made and dreams shattered. It is here that the echoes of the past resonate most powerfully, and we must be prepared to confront not only external dangers, but the ghosts that each of us carries within." Her words sparked a series of thoughtful murmurs. Mira Solis, a young ensign with wide, earnest eyes, spoke up timidly. "Captain, do you believe that these remnants, these echoes of lost battles, could help us understand what truly lies ahead?" Her voice trembled with a mix of hope and fear. Nova offered a gentle smile, tempered by the weight of experience. "Every relic in these depths has a story, Mira, and sometimes, understanding the past is the only way to shape a better future. We must be ready to learn from these echoes, even if their lessons are painful." The conversation drifted into silence as each officer contemplated the path ahead. Outside, the endless darkness was punctuated by sudden flares of energy, brief, mesmerizing pulses that seemed to respond to the ship's passage, as if acknowledging their intrusion. The Aurora's Mercy pressed on, its course unwavering, as if guided by an unseen hand toward a destiny written in the stars. In that crucible of peril and reflection, the crew began to see the journey not merely as a navigation through physical obstacles, but as a pilgrimage through the collective memory of humankind. The abyss was not a void of emptiness, but a vast repository of legacy, each fragment a testament to the impermanence of peace and the enduring nature of conflict. As the ship sailed deeper into the labyrinth of cosmic remnants, every heartbeat of its engines, every cautious step of its crew, resonated with the promise of discovery. They were no longer just survivors or wanderers of the void. They were seekers of truth, venturing into the heart of darkness with the hope of reclaiming the light that once shone so brightly among the stars. The vast silence of space shattered with the roar of battle as the Aurora's Mercy plunged into a maelstrom of light and fury. Ahead of them, emerging from the void like a beast from ancient legends, loomed the reawakened warship, its dark hull etched with scars of a bygone war and pulsing with a malevolent energy. Nova's heart pounded in her chest as her crew readied themselves for a confrontation that would test every ounce of their resolve. The first salvo erupted from the enemy's turrets, a hail of energy bolts that streaked through the darkness. Nova barked orders, her voice resonating with steely authority. "Shields up. Evasive maneuvers on my mark." The Aurora's Mercy shuddered under the onslaught, its engines responding with bursts of brilliant propulsion that sent it weaving between the deadly beams. In that moment, every fraction of a second mattered, the gap between survival and annihilation measured in blinding flashes of cosmic violence. At the helm, Lieutenant Eris Calder's hands danced over the navigation console, recalibrating their trajectory with a precision born of countless hard-won battles. "Captain, we're at the edge of the debris field. It's as if the very fabric of this sector is trying to protect the warship," he called out, his tone a mix of exhilaration and concern. Nova's eyes narrowed as she surveyed the chaotic tapestry of asteroid fragments and scattered wreckage swirling around them, a treacherous barrier that could easily turn the tide of battle. Amid the chaos, Admiral Corvus Vane's visage flickered onto a holographic communication panel, a spectral image exuding cold arrogance. His voice, smooth yet laden with menace, cut through the clamor. "Captain Meridian, you dare challenge destiny? Witness as the past reclaims its power." His words were not merely taunts, but declarations of intent, an unyielding reminder that the warship was not just an instrument of destruction, but a monument to a lost era's wrath. Nova's jaw set in defiant determination. "Corvus, your ambition has blinded you to the truth. This vessel may carry the scars of war, but it will not be your instrument of tyranny." Her retort was delivered with a measured fury, each word a promise to protect those who still believed in the possibility of a new beginning. The ensuing space duel was a symphony of destruction and valor. Energy beams crisscrossed the void as the two vessels danced a deadly ballet, their every move calculated yet dictated by instinct. The Aurora's Mercy twisted through the swirling debris field, using the remnants of shattered satellites and ancient battle stations as cover. Explosions lit up the darkness, each burst of light revealing fleeting images of valor and sacrifice. In the midst of the conflict, engineer Lyra Solane worked feverishly at her console, her eyes locked onto a cascade of data streaming in from the ship's sensors. "Captain, the enemy's energy core is destabilizing. If we can channel a precise burst of our own power, we might disrupt their shields, at least long enough for a decisive strike." Nova's gaze met Lyra's, a silent conversation passing between them. This was the moment when hope met audacity, where every risk had to be taken for the chance at redemption. With unwavering resolve, Nova commanded, "Prepare to focus our energy on their core. Eris, plot a course that brings us within striking range without exposing us to a full barrage." The crew moved in synchrony, every action a note in the crescendo of their struggle. As the Aurora's Mercy edged closer to the enemy vessel, the cosmos itself seemed to hold its breath. A barrage of enemy fire lashed out, and for a heartbeat, time slowed. Nova's eyes glimmered with a fierce light as she gave the order that would echo through the corridors of fate. Now, with that single word, the ship's power surged, a concentrated burst of energy arcing from the hull and slamming into the enemy's destabilized core. A shock wave radiated outward, rippling through the void and sending the opposing warship into a frenzied spiral. For a moment, there was silence, an eerie pause where neither side dared to breathe, as if the universe itself was measuring the cost of their ambition. Then, alarms blared and sensors flashed with warnings as structural integrity began to falter on the enemy ship. Admiral Corvus Vane's face reappeared, his expression a mixture of disbelief and grim resolve. "This isn't over, Captain. You've only postponed the inevitable." Nova's voice, firm and resolute, responded through the intercom as she steadied herself against the tumultuous forces of space. "Perhaps, Admiral, but today we reclaim our future from the ghosts of the past." In that moment, amidst the exploding remnants of what once was a symbol of unyielding vengeance, the line between victory and defeat blurred, but hope was unmistakable. As the battle raged on, the Aurora's Mercy surged forward into the heart of the chaos, determined to turn the tide in a universe where every star held the promise of both ruin and rebirth. In the hushed aftermath of the cosmic battle, the Aurora's Mercy glided through a field of debris and fading sparks, a silent testament to the clash that had rocked the void. The tumult of combat had given way to a fragile stillness, punctuated only by the steady hum of the ship's engines and the distant, dying pulses of energy from the shattered warship. Captain Nova Meridian stood at the command deck, her eyes scanning the vast expanse, as if searching for meaning in the scattered remnants of conflict. The enemy vessel, now crippled and listing amid the remnants of its former might, drifted like a wounded leviathan. Its once menacing silhouette was softened by the glow of distant stars, its scars illuminated in the dim light, a haunting reminder of what had been lost to unbridled ambition and relentless vengeance. Nova's heart ached with a complex blend of sorrow and resolve. In that moment, the battlefield was not simply a field of war. It was a tapestry of regrets, hopes, and the indelible marks of history. Nova convened her senior officers in the quiet of the debriefing chamber, their faces etched with fatigue and contemplative resolve. Lieutenant Eris Calder, still gripping the edges of his console, as if holding onto the last vestiges of hope, broke the silence. "Captain, the warship's energy signatures are failing. It seems to be drawing its last breaths." His words, tinged with both relief and melancholy, echoed the collective sentiment of the crew. Yet, amid the calm, a pivotal decision loomed, a choice that would not only define their immediate future, but also the legacy of all those who had suffered in the wake of the last war. Nova's gaze fell upon the damaged vessel, its drifting form a symbol of a past steeped in bitterness and relentless conflict. "We stand at a crossroads," she began, her voice measured and imbued with the weight of unspoken memories. "Do we allow the echoes of vengeance to dictate our future, or do we choose to end this cycle, once and for all?" Engineer Lyra Solane, whose deft hands had harnessed the ship's power to strike at the heart of the enemy, added quietly, "Destroying it might prevent further bloodshed, Captain, but it could also erase the lessons we have yet to learn." Her words resonated with a wisdom born of hardship, reflecting the delicate balance between retribution and redemption. Nova's mind whirled with the images of those lost and the promise of a new beginning. The choice was not one of mere strategy, it was deeply personal. The reawakened warship had been a harbinger of old grudges, a specter that had haunted her every step since the war's bitter end. Now, with the enemy vessel on the brink of collapse, she faced the ultimate reckoning: to destroy the embodiment of past horrors or to repurpose it as a monument, a testament to transformation and the possibility of healing. The decision crystallized in a moment of resolute clarity. "We cannot allow our history to fuel endless cycles of hatred," Nova declared, her voice both tender and firm. "Let us dismantle the machinery of revenge. We will extract its core, study its relics, and transform its energy into a beacon, a light to guide us away from the shadows of our past." The room filled with a collective exhale, a release of years spent wrestling with the ghosts of war. As the crew set to work, the operation unfolded with a somber dignity. Nova oversaw the delicate extraction process, her eyes reflecting both the scars of battle and the glimmer of hope that lay ahead. In the hushed corridors of the ship, every member felt the weight of a shared promise, a commitment to end the cycle of destruction and build something better from the ashes. In the final hours of the extraction, as the enemy vessel's systems powered down and its remnants were carefully secured, Nova found a quiet moment on the observation deck. The endless stars shimmered like scattered fragments of hope, each one a silent promise of renewal in the vast darkness. The wounds of the past, though deep and enduring, had begun to show signs of healing. In that reflective solitude, Nova allowed herself a rare smile, a soft, bittersweet acknowledgement that the future, however uncertain, was theirs to shape. With the enemy vessel disarmed and its dark energy safely contained, the Aurora's Mercy resumed its journey, not as a harbinger of war, but as a vessel carrying the promise of redemption. Nova gathered her crew one last time, their faces illuminated by the gentle glow of distant starlight, and spoke with heartfelt determination. We have witnessed the cost of our history, and today, we choose a different path. Let the lessons of our past guide us to forge a future where hope triumphs over hatred. Together, we build a tomorrow free of endless vengeance. In that moment, amid the silent majesty of the cosmos, a new chapter of existence began. The lingering echoes of war gradually gave way to the promise of reconciliation, and the scars of battle were slowly replaced by the steadfast light of a united future.